Adam, you didn't even say the best part of this gift card.
What is it?
On Wednesday, some people posted about the gift card, said they went to redeem the offer and got an error message saying the voucher has been canceled. CrowdStrike did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
The gift that never gave. The gift that only takes away.
What is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And this week, we've got a whole bunch. I mean, you probably are aware of the whole CrowdStrike, blue screen of death, global IT
Y2K.
apocalypse, Y2K situation that happened. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But then some other stuff. We've got Tesla Roadster maybe finishing production. We've got Apple folding phone rumors and a gaming keyboard that's basically cheating is what the doc says. I don't know what that is.
I can try to explain that later.
Yeah. So, we can just jump right in.
But first,
Yeah.
welcome to the Fediverse, Marques. Why am I saying that? I'm the last person you should
Oh,
say.
yeah. Are you on the Fediverse?
No.
See?
But you are.
I am.
Andrew's next.
It only took significant bullying.
Yeah,
but it works.
you were bullied by basically everyone else in this room
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, I hit the button. I mean, all that really means is I went in my Threads account in the settings, and then I checked the box that says like federate my account, and it's so now it shows up on every server, and people from all sorts of servers, Mastodon, all 12 of them are interacting heavily.
Hey, look, we got to start somewhere.
With my Threads account.
The social
are
web is
dozens of us.
important.
When I get a notification now from the Threads app, they are separated into Threads notifications and then Fediverse notifications.
Yeah.
So it'll say, David said this reply, Andrew said this reply, and 3 Fediverse users liked your post.
Yeah,
And I can't reply to anything from the Fediverse,
Not
from
yet.
the Threads app,
eventually.
but it's there.
It sounds like they got to clean up notifications on that, which is probably
Yeah.
based on which app you're using. But
They're also moving fairly slowly and just like building out Fediverse integration into Threads, but it's supposed to theoretically maybe possibly be done by the end of the year, maybe possibly. So,
Speaking of...
yeah, no, I was gonna.
you know.
Too easy, sorry.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Which if you want to do it, you can.
Do it. Send
Okay,
it.
well, speaking of things that maybe are possibly coming soon, maybe, possibly, maybe.
And I've been rolling out extremely slowly.
Extremely unlikely to be soon, but could be because they're working on it. I think maybe. We don't know.
Unclear.
Is-
Allegedly.
Yeah. Apparently, Elon Musk mentioned on a Tesla earnings call recently that the Tesla Roadster will be going into production in 2026. Oh, yeah.
because they've completed most of the engineering on it.
Right.
The car in 2017,
I would hope.
they've completed most of the engineering on
I'm
it.
pretty sure I could design a car in 7 years. You know?
Yeah. This.
I know nothing.
There are whole companies that have designed a car, stole a bunch of money, and folded in the time that this hasn't
Well,
come
they
out.
designed a car, stole a bunch of money, and haven't folded.
That's a fact because they also shipped other cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This has clearly been what the messaging has been the whole time is this is the cherry on top. It's the dessert. It's not a priority. We're prioritizing these things that are way more important, like robo-taxis.
Yeah.
Tesla bot.
October,
Optimus,
theoretically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Model 3 and Model Y are the most obvious priorities for that company. And they're ramping up Cybertruck production as we speak. So all those things cut the line, and Roadster has been on the back burner.
I would
The
argue
Surface laptop review just keeps getting cut in line, by other things. Yeah.
I think they nailed the messaging that the Tesla Roadster is last on their priority. Heard you loud and clear, Tesla.
Cherry on top.
Yeah. It should be maybe a little more prioritized, considering people gave them $250,000.
There's low priority and there's no priority. I think we're creeping towards no priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could announce another car tomorrow and it would take priority over Roadster.
Yeah. I mean, Elon also just says things all the time.
That's really the main thing.
That's really
Yeah,
the main
for-
thing.
Like this is an article because everything he says on those earnings calls gets a write-up of an article. So this is one of the things he said, and now it's an article and it's a headline, and it's, hey, could it come out in 2026? I saw this headline and I literally sighed and kept scrolling. Like I'll believe it when I see
Your
it.
car will make money for you by 2017, Marques.
Allegedly, it'll drive itself across the country too, huh?
By 2017, Marques.
I feel like at
engineering is
best,
done.
what these articles do is just remind you how much people have put down as a deposit already.
Yeah.
And be like, oh,
Feel really bad.
I'm missing that money right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If you had put it in stock, you would be wealthy.
Oh yeah.
or if you just had it, you would have
Or if you just had it,
$50,000.
you would have $250,000.
There's also a better car that's come out in the meantime.
So yeah, that's what I put down here. I was wondering if you would consider it better.
Well, we
or-
don't know anything about the
That's the thing. I tried.
actual
Yeah,
new Roadsters.
I tried to throw specs down of what the Roadster's supposed to have, and then compared it to the Lucid Air Sapphire, which has come out, which you've said is a wild car, right?
It's an incredible car.
Yeah.
If you want to go just by the actual specs that Tesla has published and just give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that's what the specs will actually be, then they're very competitive and you should just get the Air Sapphire today because it's just the same car without this Tesla supercharger network, right?
Are they also moving to NACS later?
Yeah, aren't they moving
Yes.
to NACS?
So I don't know the specifics of when you'll be able to buy a Sapphire with the NACS port on it versus adapters. I don't know that yet.
It'll probably happen before the Roadster comes out.
I hope so.
So
'Cause I think what we do know is the Gravity is supposed to have. Actually, no. I can't remember. I did a video on the Gravity, but I think that also had the
Seems like
CCS port.
any cars coming out in 2025 are supposed to have NACS, right? That
Which is-
seems like when we're starting to get the physical ports inside of cars.
Yeah.
That'd be
And then
great.
this year is the
Adapter,
adapters,
yeah.
or is it next year's the adapt?
We're getting adapters now. Like the
Okay.
Rivians have adapters right
Okay.
now.
Yeah. But either way, so 0 to 60 under 2 seconds. They're both crazy fast. The top speed being over 200 miles an hour for both of them. It's supposed to be over 250 for the Roadster.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The price also $250K for the Founders Series Roadster, $250K for the Lucid Air Sapphire.
I didn't realize that was so
And
expensive.
the weird thing that we don't know if they're going to keep, because they keep saying they're making the car better, but they also said at launch 200 kilowatt hour battery and 620 mile range. That's insane. That's just a lot of weight. If you tried to do that with today's battery tech, that would be extremely heavy.
Yeah.
So I kind of doubt that they're going to nail those specs. But hey, benefit of the doubt. Let's say they
Bro,
do.
they
that would
finished
be...
the engineering. It's done.
No,
Well, the thing
almost
that's
completed.
also-
My bad.
The thing that also keeps being said by people like Franz and other people at Tesla is that this car will be better in every way than what they originally announced. So we keep going.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, no, the specs that they announced are world beater, like
The
crazy
speed's not
specs.
anymore.
the speed is, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, a 9-second quarter mile, and 620 miles of range. It's like, okay, if those are the specs, that would be the best electric car you can buy today. But they say it's going to be better in every way from what they originally announced.
I mean,
How? That's
maybe they basically Elon just had said you need to make all the specs at least this good, and the engineering team was like, the technology is literally not there yet, so we have to wait until the tech is there. And that's why it took 7 years.
But now they're saying it's better, and the tech is ready, and the engineering is
I mean, maybe
almost done.
we'll see.
So
I feel like one thing that Tesla would have over Lucid, but I would also argue isn't that relevant here, is full self-driving. I'm sure their automated driving is better than Lucid, but like if you're buying one of these cars to just be like an absolute monster, I feel like you enjoy driving and don't care about that quite as much.
Also, full self-driving is terrifying still, and I wouldn't put my $250,000 car in the potential for an insane accident.
Now what would it be? 265,000 with full self-driving? Does this? I'm assuming this does not include full self-driving.
No, it does.
Oh, it
the
does.
Founder Series includes everything.
Man, they're
All the
just really
upgrades.
throwing you a bone here. They're so
Value.
thoughtful.
Look at that
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want, if you wind up getting this car ever, can you make the license plate 2017 LOL?
That's a solid
That
one.
would be pretty good.
I think that would be
pretty
so.
good
It's
one.
the exact amount of letters, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
7.
That's a
Do
good
we
idea.
think this comes out in 2026?
2026?
Yeah. What it was, same thing with Cybertruck, 50 production line vehicles.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
I'm going no.
You think it's going to be 10 years?
Man, just hit that double digits, baby. It looks way cooler. No, I don't know.
I'll
just say no, just because history.
Can I kind of tell you about another car that is going through a similar thing?
Sure.
This is very niche, just like the Roadster.
The Lord's
The Koenigsegg Gemera.
Yeah,
Have you heard of this?
No. I've heard of Koenigsegg.
So Koenigsegg makes like a bunch of extremely expensive, but also really, really high performance cars. And years ago, they announced a 2-row like super family sedan type thing, and they had this crazy spec of like a crazy 0 to 60 super fast. But the other thing they did was they announced 2 different powertrains for it. They said there's going to be a hybrid. I don't remember the exact details, but it was like a tiny 3-cylinder with electrical assist, so it would be super efficient and get great gas mileage, but also be super powerful. This like crazy wonder motor they were going to build.
Okay.
And then also they would offer like an 8-cylinder with a huge engine that has even more performance. And apparently nobody bought the 3-cylinder one. Almost nobody. A few people did, and they just decided to cancel that one and shift everyone to the 8-cylinder one, which they're also still not making yet, but at least they can just focus on one SKU.
How much is the down? Like, how much do you have to pay for it? How much does it cost?
Oh, I have no idea. It's probably $1.5 trillion.
How do this many people have this much money?
Gemera.
Well, they don't.
Oh,
Not anymore.
What would like 100 of these be made?
that's a lot of people.
This feels like not that far off. I'm asking this as a question. I'm not saying it similar to the Rivera, like in terms of low numbers of production.
Low volume. Yeah.
Yes,
definitely.
super low volume.
Super low volume, but just another one of those things. I don't know how many. I want to know how many people actually have a Roadster pre-order still to this day.
Yeah, if you can get a refund on your deposit, right?
I don't think so.
Have you never checked that?
I thought the Roadster was non-refundable.
Yeah, it's
The deposit?
it's an order fee. It's not a deposit.
It's an order fee.
Yeah, I believe that's
Good.
Oh, it was like wire transfer, right? This is sounding like the Escobar.
Are you still getting another one because of the?
Well, that was the thing. It was like there's a free one from the referral program.
Yeah. Are you still getting that one?
I don't know. No one knows. That's another completely open-ended question that nobody
Oh my
knows.
gosh.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. No, apparently it's refundable. I'm looking it up right now. It's refundable as long as a purchase agreement hasn't been entered yet, which there is also no purchase agreement yet. So
they.
But that money's just been sitting with Tesla. So why get that money back
loans, bro?
Yeah, they've just been hanging on to
They put that in an index fund and just made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well,
we should talk about the whole Y2K thing.
The elephant in the room. CrowdStrike.
there's an elephant in here.
That's the noise an elephant
The
makes.
noise an elephant makes. Yeah. So I think Casey Newton had a very funny tweet about this when the whole thing first started happening. Well, it wasn't a tweet; it was a Threads post. And he said, I think he said like, "Sad day for me is I unfortunately need to learn what CrowdStrike is." And that kind of describes our last week.
Yeah, I feel like so. A lot of people asked us. This obviously happened on a Friday after the pod was released already, and everyone was like, "Can you please talk about CrowdStrike?" But we released the pod already. So it was an insanely worldwide outage of Microsoft computers because of this program or company called CrowdStrike and a program they have called Falcon. And I knew almost nothing about it. So a lot of the explanation here is going to be research that we've done and videos that we've watched, and I will include some great sources that really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But this is extremely confusing.
I haven't researched this at all.
Okay.
But I remember what I saw happen.
Yeah. Let's describe what happened first.
Yeah, like we woke up and you log in and you just see that like tons and tons of businesses and major compute things are just not working. Like, you know how you walk into Chipotle and they're like, our systems are down today. Sorry. You're like, no, that's too bad. It was that for everyone at once. Everywhere. All at once.
Everything.
And so
everywhere.
it turned out to be not just like businesses, but major transit centers, airports, 911 call centers, like everything that relies, a shocking amount of things rely on this specific setup and these programs that all had this outage at the same time.
Yes.
So it was kind of just like a rolling, cascading set of stories of, oh, by the way, these 7 states, you can't call 911 right now because that's broken.
Right.
Oh, by the way, these 12 airports, like every flight in the U.S. is grounded at the same time because they all rely on this
Delta
system.
had over 5,000 canceled flights because of this.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
It was 8.5 million computers affected worldwide. People were calling this essentially what Y2K was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I
what
hope everyone remembers Y2K. If not, that's all. You can look that up yourself.
Year 2000.
But so this outage you're talking about was physically these computers were in the Windows blue screen of death. Like if you walked into an airport,
which Andrew is wearing the same color. So I think
accidentally
should temporarily superimpose the BSOD on his shirt.
But like if you were to walk into an airport, most of the screens were just the Windows blue screen. That annoying smiley face that's like system recovery, and just not working. Tim's flight got canceled because of it. Somehow my mom flew in the night before and missed all of this. Nice. So very lucky, but tons of flights completely canceled. We all know what happens when airports get backed up. That was pure chaos for the weekend. But if we want to go a little deeper into, actually the funniest outage though was there was a photo on the pit wall of a Formula One race on free practice on Friday of the Mercedes team with their computers down. I don't think it was photoshopped. It's so perfect that I have to be wary of it. But one of Mercedes' biggest sponsors for their F1 team is CrowdStrike. So there's a guy in a shirt that says Mercedes and CrowdStrike on the back, and like a bunch of screens that were just blue screen because of CrowdStrike. So that was very funny.
It looked like a meme template, but apparently that actually happened.
I saw multiple angles, so it makes me think it was real. But I'm not 100% sure.
Crazy.
Okay. Should we attempt to explain it?
We should preface this with there's this YouTube channel called Dave's Garage from this retired software engineer for Microsoft who does a very good job at explaining a lot of these things. He has now made, as of time of recording, 2 videos about this because there was the original outage in which he was very quick to make a video explaining everything. When you watch the video, unless you are a software engineer, it's still very confusing. Just prefacing that.
My notes are based on watching the whole thing through once, going through and pausing it to write notes, and watching one more time, and I probably understand 30% of what it is. It's very confusing.
Okay. I mean, we can try. I mean, we're also summarizing, like, we don't have to break it down in detail. We can link this video for people who want to watch that.
Yeah.
But what's the TLDR of, like, what happened? And honestly, my questions are like, how? Okay, it was an accident, so is it going to happen again? Or is that a tiny thing that hopefully never happens again?
Yeah. So should I do this, or do you want to do this? Or
it's up to you. Go for it. And if I try and think of, I'll interrupt.
Yeah, if I say something wrong. Okay.
I can't promise that.
So neither can I. I'm doing my best. Okay, so CrowdStrike is a security software that runs on a lot of Microsoft Windows machines. It is software that is made to sort of intersect potential threats to the system very quickly.
Intercept, sorry.
What did I say?
Intersect.
Oh, intercept, yes. Intercept a lot of novel threats to the system very quickly because cybersecurity is a category that's just grown like extremely rapidly in the last 10 years because all of these crazy threats are just getting insane. So this sits on a lot of Windows computers. In order to basically patch all of these potential vulnerabilities, it needs special access to the kernel on Windows. The kernel is something that has OS level permissions. And because that is such a safe space that... Okay.
Zuri's like, I got you.
Yeah, because that is something that is such an important part of the system. Most things do not have kernel access, and if anything goes wrong at the kernel level,
it's bad.
It will just blue screen of death because there is the potential for insane vulnerabilities. If it's oh my God, we detected an error at the kernel, this could be an attack of some sort. So as a precaution, it just crashes the system and doesn't let you do anything.
I think Windows essentially, the blue screen is its fail-safe protection of something really bad was about to happen, or we're not sure if something really bad was about to happen. Yeah. We should blue screen this.
Exactly.
And I also just want to throw in there, CrowdStrike's the company, Falcon is the program that this ran from.
Yes.
Which was on all of these computers.
Which was on apparently more than 300 of the top 500 companies in the world's computers.
Very
Fortune
popular.
500. Yeah. So CrowdStrike had pushed an update to Falcon that had this bug in it. And the bug was basically pointing to a piece of memory that didn't have anything in it. And that caused all of the systems to blue screen. The funny thing about this is that they had validation software that validates that the code that they are about to push doesn't have any problems, but there was a bug in the validation software as well.
You hate to see it.
It was like a multi-level problem. So there was a bug in the validation software.
A bug in the bug catcher.
I know.
Crazy.
A bug in the bug catcher that didn't catch the bug. And there's a lot of memes about this that are quite funny. They're just like, don't push to production on a Friday.
My favorites were like, first day at the office, just push some code.
That one was so funny. Taking the weekend off.
One thing that's a little strange here, and potentially why this problem made it all the way through, is generally in order to create things at a kernel level, Microsoft has something called WHQL certification, where if you're creating something for kernel, it's essentially something. If you're creating something at the kernel level, Microsoft will test it and certify it to make sure that it has no issues. So Falcon is WHQL certified, but I believe the way they update it sometimes to get past that or to not have it go through the lengthy process of certification through Microsoft. In order, they want to, be ahead of threats coming in. Right. So sometimes they can't wait for that. They essentially, I believe, had a driver pack that the already certified software was pulling from. And in that situation, that's how they can push it in without getting the certification. Right. It's just now it's pointing to a new set.
Because the driver pack has been certified.
So the program's been certified, and they can update the data that's inside the driver pack without the full certification because it's still the same program.
And this got pushed without the full certification because of that?
They pushed something into an already certified program that it's now, that program was already leading to.
I see.
Adam's scratching his chin. Does that sound wrong?
No, I'm just curious, what's the point of the certification then?
Well, because Microsoft wants to certify anything that can access the kernel. And it's sort of like...
Yeah, but you only need to certify it once.
The point of the
certification... whatever you want.
So that's the big question mark that I don't know the answer to is like, is it okay for companies to do this? Like, did they get the okay from Microsoft to do this because they are a company that needs to catch novel threats as fast as possible? Or were they doing this without Microsoft's
I had understood based on the official CrowdStrike statement, which I assumed is buried in legalese, but they wanted everyone to know that channel, was it 291? Channel 293? I forget, whichever like actual channel in the System32 folder it was, is not actually a kernel driver and not actually operating at the kernel level, which is why they were able to push the update. But what it does do is it informs the Falcon software, which is operating at a kernel level.
Which is what we were
how to do it. So I think that is how they were able to get around Microsoft,
because
they weren't modifying code that runs at a kernel level. They were modifying code that is an instruction set for the Falcon sensor that runs at the kernel.
So that's what was updated without certification, but the program that's certified ran that. Or pointed to it, and because of that, now that kernel program is seeing something incorrect.
Exactly.
Which is our question, though, is like, why should that be allowed? Because you're basically modifying the program without getting a sign off by Microsoft.
A new one.
I understand this is like novel threat detection, and you need to do this stuff quickly. So the big question is, does Microsoft allow this kind of stuff, or were they just doing it?
They did that time.
I mean...
I guess so. It feels like it's kind of the perfect storm of like it was a Friday, it got pushed really quick. There was a bug in the bug catcher that didn't catch the bug that was pointing to this thing, and so everything just went to crap really fast and to a large number of
also, testing in production seems crazy, but I don't know.
It's also what's so big about it is because Microsoft systems are so prominent across the world. Things like this have happened with CrowdStrike before on Linux software multiple times in different types of builds and different updates, and it's crashed them. But this just happened to be the big one with 8.5 million computers worldwide that hit. And what was really messed up about this entire thing, or not messed up, is like how hard it is to fix it, because in order to, the fix was booting the physical computer into safe mode, deleting the specific file, and then rebooting. Or there was something I saw about like rebooting a system 15 times somehow
Maybe
helped it. I don't know.
switched it back to
Have you tried turning it off?
Thing.
Have you tried again and
Take
again?
the battery out for
But
30 seconds.
essentially, imagine 8.5 million computers that essentially have to be rebooted in safe mode. And
That's tough.
There were a lot of IT engineers that were called in on the weekend.
shout out if you're listening, you're the hero.
Yeah.
You really are the hero.
Yeah.
Guys, it's okay because CrowdStrike gave everyone a $10
What?
No way.
Uber Eats gift card.
No way.
As an
No
apology.
You have to be kidding.
Are you serious?
Who's
according to this
everyone?
TechCrunch article. Some of their partners.
No way. $10.
There's no. That's the biggest
Sorry
part of
for your
this
troubles.
story.
Wait, is that true, Adam?
Thanks, IT guy who just reset 10,000 computers. Enjoy. What can $10 get you on Uber Eats? Is that even a whole McDonald's
That's
meal
the
with the
delivery
charge?
fee,
That's the
usually.
delivery.
That's like the tip and the delivery fee.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's great. So what was funny is I had a Frisbee game during the weekend, and like sometimes there's people in the stands, and I'll say hi to them after the game, and inevitably there's like one or two people who are like, "Oh, have you heard about this like gadget or this story or whatever?" And the only thing anybody asked me about that day was, "Did you hear about those Windows computers?" I was like, "They're all blue screening everywhere." I was like, "Yeah, I did see that."
I think what's unfortunate is like the way that this turned into an issue or the way it reset itself in recovery is such a Microsoft forward thing. Like everyone knows blue screen of death as a Microsoft
Yeah.
thing. So it almost, it looks
That's
like
why.
solely a Microsoft issue.
Yeah.
The Dave's Garage in his second video brought up some points on how like this was CrowdStrike's fault, but like, is it kind of Microsoft's fault for letting people do this? Should they have a different way of it being able to? He explains it so much better than any of us could. But if you're looking for like what like someone who knows what they're talking about's thought on this
Yeah.
and how like Microsoft could be partially to blame on this, I highly recommend that video. It's a lot of information.
It's a lot of
but
information.
He's fantastic.
Watch it 3 times and then
Do not watch it 3 times. I probably have to watch it at half speed in order to actually
Yeah.
understand what's
This
going
is the
on.
one
but
thing I cannot watch at 2x speed.
It makes a lot of sense why iOS updates and a lot of Apple updates come in waves.
Yeah.
Because if someone's phone gets bricked, at least they can like pull the plug before
Well, also you just don't test in production.
Were they really testing? Like, or were they?
Well, it's not testing. The testing in production basically just means pushing without testing.
But I thought,
it sounds like the bug was in
are
the
the
testing
testers.
aspect.
yeah,
right?
because they ran it through the bug detection software.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah,
so, like,
CrowdStrike.
as far as they knew,
Yeah.
tested.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know the details, but it's like, did the bug detection software say that it had a bug that wasn't testing it, or did
Right.
it say it was okay and it was validated? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of drama around iOS updates or app updates on the iPhone not getting approved by Apple for one reason or the other. Usually, it's for reasons that don't make any sense, and then they eventually approve it anyway. But this is one that you definitely need to make sure everything is chill before you push that update button.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny that no one had to like, there's that joke about how Windows always wants to update itself at the most, like at the worst possible
that's
time.
facts.
And no one even had to update their Windows computers for this to get pushed. It was like a server side update that kind of just completely destroyed a bunch of people's computers.
It's crazy how much of the world just runs on Microsoft
Do you know what
computers.
I know.
the funniest part about all of it was? Southwest didn't go down because they're running Windows like 3.1, which is like a 1993 software. And I think they tweeted actually
Well, that's
like
because all their stuff went down a while ago
Because of how old-
their weird stuff. So now they were like,
Who's winning now? Yeah.
Still working.
There was a good post from somebody where an airline in India was literally ticketing people by
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
They were just writing
boarding
the
passes.
boarding passes by hand.
Drawing QR codes out.
well, another place that runs a lot of really old Windows systems is hospitals. So there was this interesting thing where, so the people at the front desk who are using up-to-date Windows were like, we can't book appointments, we can't process payments. But the surgical robots that are running on 25-year-old Windows, because why would you ever need to update it? They were fine.
Oh, good.
that is our very base level
Yep.
explanation of it. There's lots of great info out there, but highly suggest Dave's Garage, and there's a bunch of other great stuff out there as well.
Yeah. And it made for a fun Friday.
Yeah.
As long as you
For
weren't
some.
affected by
First time.
For some.
First time.
Yeah.
Okay, we should take a break. We got to talk about a whole bunch more stuff, including some more phones. But before we take that break, let's do trivia.
So, after the break, we're going to talk about a certain company allegedly maybe getting into the foldable market.
Oh, yeah.
But before then, a foldable question.
Okay.
Oh.
Folding ideas.
In 2013, at Mobile World Congress,
2013?
2013,
Okay.
1 year, the same year that Her came out, or maybe 1 year before.
The same year.
Don't
It's
remember what
2013.
year, 2013. Same year as Her.
Who?
A company, a tech company, a blank tech company, gave a demonstration showing off folding OLED screens. What company was it? 2013.
There are two options here.
Yeah,
That's what you
Yeah.
think.
That's true.
okay. I do remember.
Maybe it's not true.
I wonder if this is the MWC that I went to.
You were
2013 sounds like around. I've only gone to one MWC.
I think it was later. When did the Vive come out? Because that's the one you went to. Because there was a trivia question on
Vive
that one.
came
I'm looking up Barcelona in my Google Photos.
It wasn't MWC, it was CES. It was
Okay.
at CES
Oh, well, now
in
that
January
that changes everything.
of
That's
2013. Folding OLEDs. Who did it?
Who done it?
Done it.
Well, I was at CES, but I was at MWC 2015. I just found.
There are three options.
Okay. Well, we'll think about it. Answers will be at the end, like usual. We'll be right back.
Support for this show comes from Meta.
Have a question or need how-to advice? Just ask Meta AI. Whether you want to design a marathon training program that will get you race ready for the fall, or you're curious what planets are visible in tonight's sky, Meta AI has the answers. Perhaps you want to learn how to plant basil when your garden only gets indirect sunlight. Meta AI is your intelligent assistant. It can even answer your follow-up questions, like what you can make with your basil and other ingredients you have in your fridge. Meta AI can also summarize your class notes, visualize your ideas, and so much more. The best part is you can find Meta AI right in the apps you already have: Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger. Just tag Meta AI in your chat or tap the icon in the search bar to get started. It's the most advanced AI at your fingertips. Expand your world with Meta AI.
All right, welcome back. So today, actually, not today, but the day this gets released is the opening ceremony for the Olympics.
Have you heard about that?
It's first
big.
time.
Pretty big deal. It's pretty cool, actually.
It's pretty cool. I'm excited to watch it. But did you see the gifts that were given out to a bunch of the athletes from Samsung?
I heard, Samsung always gives out a bunch of phones.
I didn't know they always did.
They do.
For a while, yeah.
There are two TikToks I found that were pretty funny, and I want to quickly talk about them. One I thought was really funny. It's from a British rowing athlete, Imogen Grant, I believe her name is. She may have made the greatest phone upgrade in history. She has the Tokyo Samsung Galaxy S21 from the Tokyo Olympics, and she has saved it until she upgraded this year to the Flip 6
She was
from the
daily
Paris
driving
Olympics.
the last Olympics phone.
Her phone upgrade was because she was an Olympian twice.
That's a flex.
It's the coolest
Her
flex in
screen
history.
is like so messed
It's
up.
literally like missing pixels completely. And she says in there, like, she's like, I held on to this and made it survive because all I wanted to do was upgrade it with,
What if she came and Samsung decided not to do it?
or just give the ring instead or something.
That would be
Would have
hilarious.
been awesome.
Yeah.
So I just think that's like one of the cool thing. And there's always people out there asking us, hey, I want to start a channel. How do I get free tech to review? Just become an Olympian.
Yeah, just qualify for the Olympics and you should be set. I don't actually know if does every Olympian get a phone?
I don't know how that
Feels
works.
like that's what happened.
How many Olympians are there?
There are a lot.
Like thousands of Olympians.
I can't say for sure all of them do, but the other TikTok I wanted to talk about is from the New Zealand swim team, and this is from a British rower. So it seems like that's a pretty big distance.
Both
I don't know.
water sport.
It would be really funny if Samsung's like, we only give phones to English-speaking water sport Olympians.
Yeah, basketball players, sorry about that. Track and field athletes,
Nah.
only if you're water related.
No shot.
Steeplechase, you'll get a phone.
Just that counts as a swimming based.
Yeah, there's a little water on the track.
I just thought that was a really funny TikTok. I'll also post both of these in the show notes. And by me, I mean Adam will do it. But there's another one of the New Zealand swimming team that I just thought was funny because it's a really good representation to me of how like average people view tech.
Yeah.
And it's weird calling Olympians average people
was
because
just gonna
they're
say
anything
that.
but
Average
average
people?
people.
These
But
normies?
in our tech world, they are average tech
Also, the New
people.
Zealand swim team is like really young.
They're definitely young.
Like 19 or something.
It's really fun watching them open it.
They're like, bro, it's built like an iPhone. Whoa, it flips in half. What?
And they say specifically at the end, Apple needs to catch up with this stuff. Like Apple needs to make a folding phone, but they're super impressed by it. They've never, I don't think, have seen a folding smartphone. They love the screen on the back. They also all do the like ASMR screen peel in the unboxing.
It's funny.
It's pretty sweet. And Samsung also has a like special welcome message on the first boot to Olympians. Funny part is it boots so fast none of them could read the entire thing.
They tried to read it on camera, it just went away too
Dear
quickly.
Olympians and Paralympians. Oh, it's gone.
Pretty much is how they but it's a sweet looking phone. It's gold. It has like the Olympic rings on the back.
It's a Galaxy Z Flip 6,
Yes,
by the way.
Sorry if I did not mention that.
And it comes with a very cool case too that has like this rainbow on
Case
it.
is pretty sick.
Yeah. This is like the best marketing that Samsung could possibly do.
Literally to get a bunch of people to like just organically say, man, Apple needs to catch up to this.
Yeah.
Congrats, Samsung marketing team.
Normally you have to pay
nailed it.
people to like do this kind of stuff, and just giving them to all the Olympians and have them just naturally post about it is crazy.
It's great marketing.
Yeah, it's like it's right in the fuzzy gray area between paid and earned media because they did have to give them all phones.
Yeah.
For free, which is like they can afford to do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then once you give them all custom designed phones that you spent extra money customizing for them, then they'll all talk about your.
I'm assuming in order to even give them those phones, Samsung is a gigantic sponsor of the Olympics, right?
I assume so.
In some way,
I'm assuming
probably.
so.
Yeah.
So these athletes aren't individually getting paid by Samsung, but there's obviously some money exchange. But I would argue the Olympians saying it was organically because none of them, I'm assuming, signed a contract saying I need to talk about this.
No,
They're just Olympians all trying to show off the Olympic Village. Every video right now is a Samsung Flip or a cardboard bed from Olympians right now.
Oh, because you know what happens? They all go to the openings. This is what's going to happen because this did at Tokyo. They all go to the opening ceremonies and they're all holding up the phone, like recording things.
Mm-hmm.
And then Samsung takes those clips and they're like, "Oh, see, look, LeBron James uses a Z Flip," and that's how they get you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I wish that iPhones did not have dominance in the United States like they do, because this would only work in other countries. You know, if we had a major event of some kind,
You mean like the World Cup in 2026?
was that in America?
Well,
that
it's
was the
going to
World
be in
Cup.
America.
will be.
That's the
It's
World Cup.
2026. It hasn't happened
I'm just
yet.
saying, like, if there was like, I don't know, some major sports event only the people in the United States played for, and Samsung was like, "I'm giving you all phones," everyone would be like, "I'm not switching off my iPhone." But every other country is like, "Hell yeah, I just need WhatsApp." You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure they could pay enough money to make sure all the people in the U.S. only use that phone
for a day.
for a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is all they need.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Speaking of folding phones,
Speaking of Apple needing to catch up with this stuff,
yeah, Apple is allegedly catching up with this stuff. So there was a big leak recently that Apple is actually potentially allegedly going to be producing a foldable iPhone in 2026.
Maybe.
Possibly. Ellis looks very frustrated.
No, the opposite. Excited.
Excited.
I want to know
Same thing.
how many things we've said in this podcast between the alleged Roadster and the alleged folding iPhone that have been said exactly the same in how many episodes of Waveform.
This is just kind of the state of tech journalism in 2024. Everything is just real, and then it's not real, and then it's real again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, obviously we've heard about folding iPhones for millennia at this point, but apparently, allegedly, there are suppliers in different parts of Asia that are actually getting orders for parts for a folding iPhone. Very similar to the Galaxy Z Flip, unfortunately, for the fans of the hot dog out there. Not going to be an opening phone. in the way that it opens horizontally, but it will be much more like a Galaxy Z Flip where it gets smaller.
I do like
allegedly.
that Samsung has nailed the folding phone in general so good that like when we say fold, we think book style, hot dog style, and when we say flip. we think of that. Like
That's true.
yeah.
Would you just say flip style?
Flip style. I think that's the easiest way of saying it. Fold. If you say a folding phone, it's like the fold. If you say a flipping phone,
that's actually a good point. Like they have almost Googleified the idea of a folding phone.
Is there a name for that? Like being so popular, you turn into a verb?
Kleenex.
Google. When you're branding.
That's not a verb, but I think it just may be more so than only verbs.
Try to pronounce that. Generative
AI.
Genericization.
Genericization.
Or genericide. That sounds terrible.
Hey, yeah, we gotta cut that.
No, that's what it says.
I know.
No, that's the word. It's when when your product / brand name becomes the noun of the thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Taser.
Taser's not
brand name.
I mean, it's an acronym, but it's also a brand name. It's trademarked.
Oh, wow.
New Jersey has a extremely specific one, which is our pork roll.
That's
a lot of people call Taylor Ham.
Taylor
is the
Ham.
product.
No, Taylor Ham is the brand.
The brand. Sorry.
Yeah, get it
It's
right.
the brand.
I'm from California.
Sorry, I just said the wrong thing. I know. I've heard this argument my whole life, boy.
All right, let's get back to the folding hamburgers and hot dogs, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So Samsung. Apple allegedly going to make a flippy iPhone.
Yes.
The question is that what we want? Is that because I've said this on the podcast before? Is Apple has a bunch of flipping and folding iPhone prototypes somewhere underground in Apple Park.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to decide which one for a while.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're going to do the flippy one. My reaction is, it's the most popular one, but it doesn't feel like the most difference maker.
Considering the state of the women's clothing industry,
Very fair.
I think this is going to do very well.
I think this pops.
Yeah.
And like because of what we've already said, Apple is so prominent in the US. I think there's so many people who have iPhones now. They're like, wow, Samsung is doing this really cool thing, but I'm not ditching my iPhone. Yeah. And think about every time an iPhone kind of changes and becomes like some part of it becomes iconic. Now this is going to become iconic, even though four or five other manufacturers have done it already. Right. In the US, it's going to pop.
I think that folding phones, fold style phones, Galaxy Fold style phones, are like super user phones. Like, there's no way any regular person just went and bought a OnePlus Open. So
there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, yes, they're also huge and they're like not ideal, but they're also like always the most expensive. They're always twice the price of all the other phones.
That's true.
So
good point.
Not that Apple's is going to be cheap and change that, but yeah.
But I think there's also something to be said for like when it's a flip phone. The concept is that you're not using your phone quite as often. Whereas the fold phone is that you're using your phone the same amount, but when you're really using it, you're super using it, you know? And so the idea of the flip phone is for, I guess, more targeted at like fashion and normies because they're not like the power users that are constantly wanting to do things big on their phone.
It's not extra functionality, it's extra pocketability
and it still does have a wow factor.
Yeah.
Like people like wow factors in phones. I think we all know that. But I think the flip style makes perfect sense for an
Apple.
iPhone. It makes the most sense.
I've also been trying to picture an Apple flipping iPhone and if there's any way that they can differentiate from all the ones that are already out. Because I feel like we've seen it all, but I also felt like that about VR headsets, and now they have the googly eyes on the outside. So is there an Apple version of that?
Here's how it's different.
It folds.
It has an Apple logo on it.
I mean,
oh, you mean from other?
That's good enough for a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's good enough for a lot of people.
I think all it needs.
I feel like they're just gonna put everything that's cool about the dynamic island on the front screen. I don't think it'll be an actual usable screen.
Oh, interesting.
Like the Samsung phones,
or they just won't have a screen on the front.
Ooh, that would be crazy.
Would be tough.
Doesn't that defeat the point?
Not really.
Yeah, I think so.
I need to see the time or something on the outside.
It's funny. I want to see the back more than the front of the folding iPhone.
They did such a good job with standby mode on the current iPhone. I feel like they could really whip up something really good.
That would be cool, yeah.
So my question is, there was this leak a few weeks ago that I believe we covered that they are apparently trying to release an iPhone Slim in 2027. But I'm wondering if these are the same product, because in the articles that I read about the folding iPhone, they said they're actively still working to make it thinner. So I'm wondering if these are like the same product and the leaks got mixed up somehow, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
But apparently it's moving ahead, which is good to see, because, the last major design change that we saw on the iPhone was the iPhone 12. And even that was like, we went from circular to squared off.
Yeah, I feel like the 10 was the one everyone remembers.
Yeah.
And the difference between the iPhone 15 and 16 is like probably not going to be that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's apparently the variable aperture is apparently going to be in the 17, I think. There were a lot of Apple leaks this week, including allegedly, a foldable MacBook-like device.
Foldable display.
Yeah.
Because everyone always says that.
Yes.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, I know.
It folds already. We get it.
But
okay, foldable display laptop.
But apparently, it should have two options of either 18.8 inches or 20 inches.
That's almost the same.
I don't know. 20 inches is pretty big.
19 and 20.
Well, 18. Well,
Wait. Yeah, 20-inch display when the display is folded out and then doesn't have the keyboard.
And then it has
so that is still half the size.
It said when it's folded in, it's about 15 inches. And then when it's folded out, it's about 20 inches.
So it's doing some.
Wait,
razor,
that sounds
some like Moto Razor.
Yeah, so it said when it's closed, when it's like folded closed, it's about, the smaller one is 13 to 14 inches. And when it's open, it's 18.8. And then the bigger one is about 15 inches closed and 20 inches open.
So footprint-wise, there's two laptops, a 13-inch and a 15-inch, when they're closed.
Yes.
When you open them, they're a big foldable screen. So the
18-inch.
small one is an 18-inch and the large one is a 20-inch.
That feels like too small a
which
delta.
I still think is not that big.
15
of a
to 20
difference.
inches?
No, 18.8 to 20.
Well, yeah. From what I read, you're still going to be able to use it when it's not unfolded. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's not like it's it's like expanding, not closed completely.
Guys,
No.
I am so excited about this because
I need someone to draw this for me.
The best, my favorite form factor of any modern device I've used, like modern computer.
The Book's Palma.
No, form factor. The Asus ZenBook 17 Fold.
Oh.
That computer sucks. That computer is really is terrible. But the form factor,
idea.
where that you've got the keyboard that you lay over the bottom half of the screen, you open it, you can put it on the kickstand, you can use it as a little laptop. If Apple could perfect that.
This is one I found where there's two concepts. So these are just concepts. But if this is the way the concept works, it would make the most sense in terms of the numbers that you're saying. This is who posted this?
Here's
Majin Buu is the concept of who made it. Imagine a MacBook and then the screen just comes all the way down to where the
Touch
keyboard
bar
is and is basically a touch bar now.
But it's part of the screen.
And that folds. So you're gaining like an inch vertically
That'd be interesting.
of space and the whole length around. That's why you're only going from like 15 to 18 inches, but that display is under.
This Verge article says, Kuo says that Apple's considering an 18.8. Okay.
That's kind of fire.
An 18.8 inch panel when closed. The 20 inch version will reportedly look similar to the 14 to 15 inch MacBook, while the 18.8 inch device will look like a 13 to 14 inch MacBook.
I see.
That's what Kuo is reporting, and that Verge covered. But that's a different. So, okay. Who knows?
They just seem to want to bring the touch bar idea back.
I would lean towards that because if the just full screen folding in half, I would assume they'd call that a folding iPad, not a folding MacBook.
Well, does it run Mac OS or iPad OS?
True.
It's like also like when you have the trackpad keyboard combo unit that like sandwiches in the middle, like the Asus ZenBook 17 Fold. It really, it's a laptop for sure. It's a mobile MF computer, guys. It rules.
Mobile first.
Yeah, terrible
Mobile
computers.
first.
Don't buy one. Doesn't matter how cheap it is. It's not worth it. But God, is it?
I mean,
awesome.
it's not cheap. It's really
Well,
expensive.
it's old. They've replaced.
Well,
it.
the newest one's like $3,000.
Yeah, I think when it came out was
Or
like
more.
24.
Something like
you had
that.
16 gigabytes of RAM. It's like what?
That's
Who are you kidding?
fine. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Alphabet is committing $5 billion more dollars to Waymo, which is a lot of money. Have any of you guys used Waymo in production recently?
Nope.
No?
No.
Okay. It's
I hear
amazing.
that's very, very California.
It's amazing. Every time I'm in San Francisco, I use it, and it's just so freaking good. It's crazy. It feels safer than most of the Ubers that drive me around.
I believe that.
Yeah. So Google apparently Alphabet had a very strong quarter this past quarter. Apparently it was because of AI solutions, which at first I was like, how? But then I realized it was mostly because of Google Cloud AI stuff, which makes more sense because developers are actually using this kind of stuff. The cloud division hit $10 billion for the first time and $1 billion in operating profit. And I think that is sort of what allowed them to put more money into Waymo.
So they're not going to kill it
Yet. Yeah. So the interesting thing about this is like Waymo is so good already, and it's operating in 3 major cities. It's operating in San Francisco, Phoenix, and parts of Los Angeles. And riding in Waymo, it feels so polished that I really am starting to feel like they need competition like ASAP. Otherwise, they're just going to be like a monopoly in the driverless car space. Famously, there was Cruise, which still technically exists, and I believe recently got their license to go back onto the streets. But there was this huge problem. Well, there was an incident with Cruise where someone got hit by a different car, got knocked into the street, and then a Cruise vehicle dragged them a certain amount of feet, and then they got put under investigation. All this stuff happened. I believe they're back on the road. But either way, yes, it seems like Venmo is going to continue to... Waymo, Venmo, geez, they're all Mo's. It seems like Waymo is going to continue to improve and potentially reach more cities and whatnot. But if you guys ever go to San Francisco or Phoenix or Los Angeles, I highly recommend it. And they also opened up rides to anyone very recently.
Do they give rides from the airport?
No, not yet. But that's the next thing that they're doing in San Francisco.
Okay. That's the most common California Uber that I take.
And it's only a 15-minute drive as well in San Francisco.
Airport's a whole nother beast, I feel like.
Because that's, when I hear that it's in San Francisco proper, I just imagine like, okay, I see those streets as being like ready for that type of driver. New York City is a totally different animal.
Yeah.
And I wonder like why they're in these 3 particular cities is because these are very much driving cities, and they're going to be best in driving cities. And yeah, New York City is not really a driving city.
Well, San Francisco, I wouldn't really consider a driving city.
No?
Not really.
It's like in the city, or like all of San Francisco?
In the city. It's not in like the East Bay or anything. Oh. It's not the general Bay Area. It's just the city of San Francisco.
Okay.
The 7 by 7 square mile area.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but very good. So anyway, I'm
try it.
excited that Google is not immediately killing this product that I like.
But if you say it 3 times,
they might.
It just might happen.
They might. With that, I think we should take it to our second trivia question.
Trivia, dude. So, second question. The DC01 is a popular home appliance made by which company?
That DC01 was like the barrel connector plug that gets plugged in for DC power.
Probably.
Isn't that what they call it?
Sure. No idea.
I might need a hint on that
DC01.
You said home company?
Appliance.
Home appliance.
Very popular home appliance company.
Can't be that popular. I've never heard of a DC01. What is a DC01?
I haven't heard of half the names of appliances in my house.
Fair.
They're named pretty poorly.
That's true.
What's the model of your dishwasher?
I don't have a dishwasher.
I hope it has the word dishwasher in it.
I doubt it. Sony WH-1000X Mark washer.
I have a Samsung dishwasher, but
it'd be so funny if it's a DC01 and you try and search it right now, and that's
Samsung dishwasher. They do not have.
I doubt it. Okay, well, we'll guess and get it wrong after the break.
Support for this show comes from Meta.
Have a question or need how-to advice? Just ask Meta AI. Whether you want to design a marathon training program that will get you race ready for the fall, or you're curious what planets are visible in tonight's sky, Meta AI has the answers. Perhaps you want to learn how to plant basil when your garden only gets indirect sunlight. Meta AI is your intelligent assistant. It can even answer your follow-up questions, like what you can make with your basil and other ingredients you have in your fridge. Meta AI can also summarize your class notes, visualize your ideas, and so much more. The best part is you can find Meta AI right in the apps you already have: Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger. Just tag Meta AI in your chat or tap the icon in the search bar to get started. It's the most advanced AI at your fingertips. Expand your world with Meta AI.
All right, welcome back. We're about to talk about keyboards. My goal is to not bore everybody.
I actually think the story is fairly interesting.
There's an overarching question here about it. Have we created a piece of hardware that basically is pay to win for video games? Thanks, Adam. Do that in about 3 minutes and it'll be totally valid.
Not only pay to win for video games, but undetectable by software.
Yeah, pretty much. But in order to explain what's going on, I need to explain a very specific mechanic
Sputnik,
in an
baby.
extremely specific video game.
1968.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about Razer and a new keyboard they have out called the Huntsman 3. And it has a piece of inside of the hardware and software. It makes something extremely easy, almost like cheating. There's a video out by this guy named Optimum about how this is essentially cheating in specific video games. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in some tactical shooters like Counter-Strike, there's a mechanic called counter-strafing. And what happens is, in order to shoot with 100% accuracy, your character needs to not be moving. Have you ever played an FPS where your crosshair kind of moves in and out based on how much you're moving? And that's how much spread the bullets will have? Mm-hmm. Counter-Strike is extremely specific to where you have to be completely stopped moving. And in order to do that, you can't just hold the move right key and let go because your character has momentum as they're stopping. So if you want to be at the absolute top level of this game, you want that difference between letting go of the key and stop moving and having 100% accuracy. That could be the difference between being the top rank. In order to do that, you have to hold the right key, let go, and tap the left key super fast, and that will stop you immediately. It's an extremely hard mechanic to learn. You have to have very precise movement with it or timing with it.
It's a feel thing.
It's a feel thing. And if you overlap those two key presses at the same time, it doesn't work because it's activating both key presses.
To my homies that played a lot of GameCube, there was a mechanic in Super Smash Bros. Melee called wave dashing and wave canceling, where you would basically do the same thing, where you could kind of manipulate the button presses to allow you to execute a movement faster, because the mechanic of the game would make you slide or trip or something, and it wouldn't allow for inputs before you were standing still again. But there was a way to sort of flick it so that you would be almost trip and then you would fall back and then you could do it faster. And the pros, just like I'm assuming in these FPS games, you basically have to do this if you want to be at the highest tier.
If you're a pro Counter-Strike player, you know how to counter-strafe. And you've probably spent decades mastering it. I mean, it is something where pros aren't even doing it 100% of the time. That's how specific this is. And because of that, with keyboards, there's been this new fad recently called Hall Effect, which is kind of taking over the gaming keyboard space, where instead of a metal pin that connects whenever each keystroke hits, it's a magnet, and you can adjust the activation point of where your keystroke is. Mm-hmm. So rather than going all the way down to bottom out, 0.1 millimeters down now activates it. And it also has a cool thing where the minute you let go of it, it deactivates it rather than having to hit 50% up or whatever that is. That's one of the things that's helping this. I kind of want to do a short on it on the studio channel soon because they've become really popular. But Razer introduced this newer thing, which is partially the Hall Effect keyboard switches and partially a software where essentially it's only taking the last input that you have. So if you're strafing left and right with A and D, because WASD is your usual movement keys. You can press right and then tap A, and it's now overtaken the D key without having to have any travel for deactivation. It essentially is creating a space that is impossible to overlap key presses, which is the main thing making this really hard to do, and timing. I mean, that's basically it. It's making a keyboard that is a couple $100 and taking years and years and years of timing and practice and making it something you can do almost immediately. You still have to be good at the rest of the game, but it does break this point.
It's like an ultimate disc that has special magnets that only interact with your fingernails. So if your hand is in the right place, it'll snap.
I was going to make a devil's advocate sports analogy as well.
Sure. I'll try.
Because I think it is a piece of equipment, this keyboard, and theoretically, if everybody gets this keyboard, then everyone's on the same playing field again, which is funny because it reminds me of in golf, there was a moment where there was these have you seen these like belly putters that are like extra tall?
Yes.
And they will like anchor it into their chest and like use it as a pendulum. They got banned.
Okay.
But there was a moment where some golfers were using them and some weren't. And it felt like there was like a animosity towards like, it's kind of cheating. Like, I don't know, it shouldn't be legal. And now they got banned. But it's like, if everybody used them, we'd all be on the same playing field. So is it cheating?
Yeah.
Unless it's illegal, the keyboard.
Well, that's the thing. And here's one example that kind of makes this feel illegal is there used to be this thing called null canceling, which is a script that people would incorporate into Counter-Strike. I mean, years and years and years ago that would do essentially the same thing. But because it was a script, it was considered cheating and it was banned from being used in Counter-Strike games. I don't know exactly how Razer's doing this differently. And in fact, since Razer released it, a company that made Hall effect keyboards extremely popular, Wooting, almost immediately released a software update for all of their keyboards that does something super similar in a couple other cooler ways. What?
In software,
retroactively turning all of their keyboards into having this feature now.
Yeah.
So I'm like interested in what happens. Is Valve itself going to ban this? What's going to happen? Are we in a pay to win kind of place? Is there something that like Valve could do to incorporate this already so everyone's on the same thing? But then that also now sucks for these people that have spent. I mean, you still obviously have to have map sense and proper crosshair placement and all these different things to be good at the game.
But it's one variable that no longer matters as much.
Right. It is, and it's one that's like so specific to like taking yourself to the next level. Yeah, it's one of those like super specific things you just learn for so long. Yeah,
it's one of those things where like, well, this game is an online game. Most people are playing it online, and so sure, maybe for in-person LAN pro matches, you can ban these type of keyboards or say everyone has to use them, one of the two. But when you just have your average player on the internet, you are going to be better than the people you're playing against if you have the keyboard.
Isn't there a way for them to detect it, though?
So
I don't know.
Because if I play like Call of Duty Mobile and I attach a backbone, eventually it'll be like, it looks like you're using a controller. Like we're going to we're going to like put you in a room with other people that are using controllers.
That's a USB-C interface, so like it can tell. I don't know about that.
Is a keyboard not a USB-C?
Well, a keyboard, I mean,
the touch screen.
I don't know if the computer needs to like validate a serial number of a keyboard.
I think like the only thing that the computer would see is like, damn, this guy is really good at taking his finger
because the input that it's detecting,
putting it on D.
That's why like it was hard for them to detect scripts for a long time because it was sort of like manipulating the key presses themselves.
I do think though, so just to make sure that this didn't feel like just really good marketing to make it seem like, oh, this is basically like cheating, I went to the CS2 subreddit and there's a lot of people who seem to be pretty upset by this. So it does seem like a reasonable thing that at least some people are worried about. But they were saying that because a key can never overlap, the way you would tap and do these different things is so perfect that if you were looking, it would be like the difference in milliseconds would be perfect every single time of you doing it. So is that how they enable something like that? Because even in the best is so close and the best players are that there is some sort of variance in it. But if you're always...
Yeah, but you could code that in.
Well, yeah, I mean, people did. It was called null canceling and they banned it. So like...
I mean, the keyboard, like if they updated it to detect...
Oh, you're saying that...
You could code variants too. You know, you can make it so it's like if it's between frames 7 and 14, you could just put it at different intervals between it every time.
Yeah, I don't know. Valorant, you don't need to counter strafe in, so it doesn't really matter. I never learned how to do it. I tried to learn how to do it. It is extremely tough. I'm sure there's plenty of people who say it's not that hard, but those people have probably been playing Counter-Strike for like 10 years and have learned how to do
games. It's Counter-Strike. It's Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's games that got released before you could just like patch everything a ton. But Counter-Strike is online, you can patch it. But
I think what's cool about though is watching the players who have been playing stuff like that for so long just be at an absolute next level that is wild. Like even in just Valorant, which probably has like some incredible players who have been playing Counter-Strike before because it's similar. There'll be days where I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm really on, and I'll go into a match and just get crushed and be like, I cannot believe there are people who make me look like I've never played this game before.
Yeah, if you go watch Pro Super Smash Bros. Melee, those people literally all day, like they're in the gym, will train movements on the GameCube controller just over and over and over again.
Combos.
Just like wave dashing and wave canceling and like all
so they become human macro machines.
Pretty much. A lot of the stuff you have to get frame perfect on, so it's just training your muscle memory as much as physically possible.
And this keyboard just does that.
Does it for you
without having to learn anything.
How much is this keyboard?
I think it's $180.
Suspicious.
I'm going to be a pro Counter-Strike player now.
Just curious.
180, I think. Yeah, 180 it looks like for the mini version. What will really happen here is the amount of people that this really does that much to will probably be super minimal, because the majority of people buying this to feel like it's cheating will still suck at the game and all the other aspects of the game.
If you can do this move, I'm not beating you anyway. Like, sure, get the keyboard and let it help you out.
But there are probably some people...
at the pro level, it's probably going to suck.
There are people who are in like the top 1% that this might help get them into the top 0.5% or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably not exactly there. I think it's an interesting conversation of just like, when is hardware going to start doing too much, and what are the...
you can't you can't just like replace the entire keyboard industry overnight. You know?
Yeah, well, and if it gets to the point where the pros are like, this one does actually help me better. Because even if pros are doing this 90% of the time, this is 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, does every pro have to use this keyboard? Or does every keyboard company have to incorporate this? Are we going to start banning hardware?
What's I'm sure every esports team is going to be like, we have to use Hall Effect switches.
My guess would be it just gets banned.
I think this specific software one gets banned. I think Hall Effect will stay in. Yeah, because that's a little tougher and just a new technology. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Also to note, a lot of Nintendo Switch controller upgrades or better controllers are now using Hall Effect as well, because the Switch controllers, famously, the Joy-Cons will start drifting because you do enough of these like movements on them, and eventually the parts that are supposed to keep it perfectly centered will just kind of start moving to the side. Yeah. So Hall Effect is the same kind of update where it's using magnets instead, so there's not a physical contact that is like forcing this drift to eventually occur. So they last way longer.
Hall Effect is really cool in the keyboard community, and it's super popular in like keyboard gaming community right now.
Do you know why it's called Hall Effect?
I don't.
Essentially, when you have a magnetic field being intersected perpendicularly by an electrical current, you're going to have some of those electrons pulled to one side of the wire, just because of the Lorentz force. Now, when you have electrons on one side of a wire and not on another side of a wire, we can call that a potential difference, which we can measure as a voltage. So, because the strength of that magnetic field is what dictates the amount of potential difference, it means we can measure the voltage and know how far away those magnets are from one another. I hope that makes sense in the realms of a keyboard. Anyway, thanks for letting me nerd out for a little bit, and back to the show.
Anyway.
I think we've officially lost everybody, so time to wrap it up with trivia.
Hall Effect superposition. Yeah. Bow.
Trivia time.
Dude.
What?
Trivia,
what?
dude. It's people on... Anyway, continue. I don't know.
There's a... Never mind.
Can
I steal?
All right. Earlier this episode, we talked about foldable iPhone. I know, right? But Apple is usually late to the game on display technologies. In this case, as of right now, they are 11 years late, because in 2013 at CES, not Mobile World Congress, but CES, what display manufacturer, tech company extraordinaire, gave a folding screen demonstration.
I feel like it's not who we think it is.
It could be,
I have a feeling.
or
I made a
maybe
video
it
about
won't.
this.
Probably.
I don't know if this helps or hurts, but the code name of the project was Youm.
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 Sounds Korean.
Youm.
I'm gonna be mad if this is the obvious one.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
All right, who wants to read first?
I was gonna put LG and then I put Royale.
I put Royale spelled correctly though.
Oh,
Is it
I think.
It's-
I hope it's correct.
I don't
No,
know.
you're right. That's right.
Marquez?
That's how you spell it. I put LG.
But you have something crossed out on your board.
I was
Oh,
split
was it
between
Samsung?
Samsung and LG, and I crossed out Samsung and kept LG.
It was, in fact, Samsung.
Dang.
Oh my god!
And you know what's hilarious? They gave a terrific demonstration of all these folding screens. They even sort of crumpled one.
Yeah. They've
But
done that like every year.
The
though.
only phone that came out that they unveiled on stage that year was the one where the right side sort of curves over.
Oh,
Oh.
it's funny. Like I know Royale was like way later with the actual folding one, but their booth always had like the one year they just had like this fake tree where all the leaves were like they're folding
That's so
like
cool.
screens. And I was like, oh, maybe they've been doing this for longer than I thought.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it in a phone.
LG also makes a lot of weird experimental display
Yeah.
tech, so I kind of
yeah.
figured. But Samsung, pretty much every year that I went to CES, would always have like new versions of weird folding screens.
TCL has a bunch
TCL.
of weird stuff at CES too, with like the
TCL did, like, a
trifold and scroll.
They'll try anything.
I made a whole video on that. Yeah,
Rollable display.
It was like it was a accordion phone.
It was the
There was
tablet.
one that like
yeah.
oh
There were two. There was one that was like a roller that you'd press a
Yeah,
button and it
the
would like go
Rolo.
up like
Yeah.
that. And then there was it was an accordion.
The trifold.
the trifold.
Trifold.
Yeah.
The trifold.
Yeah.
I actually think
Have you ever wanted to-
the rolling one was the coolest because it was like a normal phone, and then the right side would just like spin
Roll
out and
Yeah.
get like longer. It was sweet.
Yeah. The trifold is hilarious.
Trifold was fantastic.
That's how you get it.
It's like a brochure.
Yeah.
Trivia, dude. There you go, David.
Thanks.
Okay, so to
Thank you.
answer the poll from last week's episode,
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right.
we have to dish out a point.
I think I lost that one.
Yeah. Well, no spoilers.
The first comment, first of all, the first comment, Cole Lewis 92, thank you for voting and commenting, said, the person that wrote the question loses 3 points.
Nice.
But then James_David, thank you for commenting and voting, presumably 3 days ago, said
Not my
they took
fault.
it from a pop quiz that Google themselves published. So it was Google forgetting their own product lines.
So
Also
Google
true.
loses 3 points.
So Google loses 3 points is the moral of the story. Anyway, the answer with 54% of the vote
Oh,
is
54?
54%.
That's close.
Chromecast.
Yes.
No, that's not close because there's 3 people. So you got over half of the.
So I got
So even though it's wrong,
No,
Chromecast.
A bunch of people said that the
yeah, there was a bunch of like disclaimers.
No, but
and,
the-
like,
No. A bunch of people said the Chromebook that Marques mentioned specifically was never actually released as a consumer.
No, but the
product.
Chromebook Pixel was the correct. Was really.
is the correct answer.
True, that's true. Yeah, I agree.
But the people have spoken. David.
Yes.
I guess
So-
you had like a developer's.
Yeah, he had a
Chromebook
developer
or
edition.
something that.
The CR48.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that it was only given to developers
Yeah.
or something and never actually released as a.
So thank you everyone for voting and
Yeah.
commenting. It was fun to read those over the weekend.
It was fun.
Okay, so now quick update on the score.
Yes.
Marquez with 14, Andrew with 13, and David with 15.
Let's go.
Now we can get on to question number 2. The DC01 is a popular home appliance made by which company?
Appliance.
Currently
Home
made?
appliance currently made. Oh wait,
Do batteries
Like
count
they
as
still make it, you mean?
appliances?
I don't know. They do not still make it.
They don't.
No, but they still very much make things in the same vein.
Do batteries count as appliances?
My marker died.
They don't make it anymore?
It was the first thing this company, well, it was the first of this thing that this company ever made that they would continue to make.
Wait, was the question the company or the product?
Company.
Le compagnie.
Can I write the company because I wrote the product?
I gave you the product. It's the DC01.
Yeah, the question is the
come on,
product.
not the category. Okay.
Oh,
I
I know
see
what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, I'll allow it.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Flip them and read. What do you got?
Put the General Electric.
Light
I
Light
put
bulb.
General Electric.
Really? Both of you guys?
I
Okay.
put Dyson.
Correct.
I literally thought.
It was the first vacuum was the DC01, the Dyson DC01.
Did you know that?
I just heard D Dyson.
That's it. Yeah.
Honestly, I almost didn't put it because we never mentioned Dyson in this episode, and usually pick a question based on something.
We
in the
somehow
episode,
mentioned
so-
Dyson in every other episode. But yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah. I also thought it might have been Duracell.
That does sound like a battery. That sounds like the weird battery that's in like your car key fob that you have to replace randomly. And
Yeah.
look it up.
It also sounds like a teenage engineering product.
It does as well.
True.
People are selling the original CR48 on eBay for $11,000.
Oh my God.
Which is how you know it was never actually made as a consumer product.
Yeah,
Dang.
Wait, you still have yours.
I do.
Time to flip it.
Yeah, you should.
But
flip it.
yeah, this one is 4 parts not working. Current bid $11,000.
What?
Yours is working.
I think.
Maybe.
I haven't turned it on in a while. Could be worth $1 million.
You know how I knew that about Dyson was that I'm pretty sure my vacuum was like DC07 or something.
That was the hint I was hoping you guys would get, that you all own current vacuums that it's similarly
That's
named.
crazy.
Got it.
Can I round up the score before we take it home? All right, count up the score. We have Ellis with carry the 1, Google with -3 points, Marques with 14, Andrew with 14, and David in the lead, 15 points.
Thank you, Google.
This is a good, even race.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
So far, anyway.
Could be overtaken at any time.
Yeah.
just wait, trivia extravaganza.
Where the points don't matter and everybody loses.
The points are going to come raining down.
I still think if we're tied, it should be a 1 hour long episode with 1 point up for grabs.
It's an hour-long question.
It's the SAT.
Whoever gets the
We all have to go take the
SAT, and whoever gets the highest
Your
score
time
just
to
gets
write your
1
essay
point.
starts now. Well, with that, we will let you guys write your essays in the comment section instead.
Oh, no.
And feel free to like and subscribe and let us know. Other than that, catch us quickly soon for maybe a bonus episode. That seems like a good thing you should stay tuned for. So keep an eye on your feeds, even if it's not always Fridays. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Catch you later. Peace.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We're partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our outro music was created by Vane Still.
Bingo. I got kicked out of calculus because I faked taking trigonometry and
But you didn't know.
well, what I did was I took trigonometry through Stanford during the summer online, but I didn't finish it. And but I enrolled in calculus and I tried really hard and I failed everything. And at one point, my teacher was like, "David, you didn't take trig, did you?"
Oh.